Hi, we're here going through our week 4 challenge exercises for strengthening the knee. What we're going to be doing is working on exercises to help stabilize the knee. We're going to do 4 exercises today. Paul's going to run through them, and we're going to start off using our massage tennis balls. And we want to start on the feet, like we have before in the previous weeks. As we progress, we're going to use a belt. We also have our Cygnus stretching strap. I'm going to show you how we can find connectivity between the feet and ankles and knees and hips. All right. Hand me that tennis ball back and begin working on a massage of the calves using your thumbs. Like we've gone over before with the massage, you don't need to massage too intensely to the point where you're feeling discomfort, pain. If you ever find yourself wincing during a massage, it's a good indicator that you are massaging too hard. Just ease up the pressure a little bit. If you find a spot that feels like there's quite a bit of tension there, ease some pressure onto it. Hold that pressure, take a few deep breaths, and see if you can get that area to release a little bit. Feel some of that tension melt away and alleviate. All right, awesome, Paul. I'm going to have you come on down to the ground. I'm going to go over our first active exercise. Have you sit back a little bit, this leg come out straight. I'm going to pull that one up and we're going to work a little ankle circle. Great. Now I know Paul's an avid runner. He also does high intensity interval training. So it's likely that Paul has some tension in his lower leg. It's also possible that Paul has some dysfunction in his ankle. When I ask you, where do you feel this at? What's your answer?
Feeling it on this side.
All right. Paul's feeling this primarily in his shin. What about in your ankle?
A little less mobility in my ankle than I would like. It's definitely more mobile going towards the sagittal plane than going towards the outside.
Okay. Paul is feeling this in his ankle, and it's a little bit difficult to go to the outside of that ankle. When he rolls out towards this side of that ankle and down, as well as rolling in to that outside and up and over. Just like we talked about in week 1s and 2s, that is common if you are over pronating when you walk coming onto the inside. You lose that ability to come up and out, up and out. Good. And what I'm really after is wondering if you are getting that back in the calf here.
I'm feeling a lot of activation, yeah.
As much as you are in the ankle. Where do you feel it most, ankle or calf?
Probably the calf at this point. It was the ankle when I first started.
Okay, good. Paul said when he first started, he was feeling it more in his ankle, and now that he's been doing it, and after massaging it, he's feeling it in his calf. And that is the perfect indicator in what we're looking for to determine if you're ready to go on to this next exercise. I'm going to have you turn to the side, working on the same leg, have you lay back. I'm going to work this straight-legged stretch. I'm not going to guide Paul at all yet. I'm just going to say, hey, we're doing a hamstring stretch, straight-legged stretch. What are you going to do? Good. And you can see that Paul brought that leg up as high as he can to try and stretch that hamstring. The back of his leg here, this outer sweep here, probably feeling some tension. But all the less right here on this hamstring. Is that where you're feeling it most, Paul?
Yeah, behind the knee, up to about the mid hamstring.
He said he's feeling it behind the knee and up to the mid hamstring. This is a hamstring stretch, but that's not really what we're after here. We're looking for that coordinated movement that we talked about in week 1 and 2, and I've been building on last week and this week. So when I lower that leg, and you can see here on the video, that this knee lines up directly behind this knee, so these knees are lined up now. He's not as high as he was here, so you might think, I'm doing less of a stretch. Paul, are you doing any less of a stretch here?
No, it's just active in different places.
Paul said that stretch isn't any less, but he's just feeling it in different places. So when we bring that belt on, that allows him to keep that ankle engaged, just like when he did his point flex in that first exercise. Pushed out, pulled back. Right now he's actively pulling back on the ankle. What that does is it engages this lower leg, this calf. We talked about loosening and balancing that lower leg. That's what we're working on right here. Where are you feeling it most?
Behind the knee, upper calf, way lower hamstring.
Behind the knee, upper calf, a little bit in the hamstring. That balance between the two, connecting that ankle to the knee, and now for the first time starting to really put the connection together from the knee up to the hip. If we go a little bit higher, he's going to get that higher up towards the hip. If and only if that ankle stays flexed here and he puts a little squeeze on the top of this quad here, you're going to really feel that. The higher he goes, the harder it is to keep this quad squeezed and this ankle flexed. We only want to go as high as we can with both of those in action, both of those engaged, that ankle and that quad muscle. We are coordinating these two to work together. If I pick Paul up and I put him just like this on the ground, he's going to be right here in this single leg hamstring stretch, but also lower leg balancer. These postural muscles here and that foot is engaged, creating a link through this whole leg. Awesome, let that leg come down. I mentioned there towards the end that we're working up towards the hip. We have that connection between ankle and knee. I'm going to have you come over here, Paul. You're going to position yourself on this block. Right here. Hands and knees. It seems like we're going in a totally different direction than where we were. Like we talked about with our seated postures last week. When you're seated, you have that 90-degree ankle. Ankle to knee, knee to hip. We just got done working on that ankle to knee, and now we're working on that hip to knee, knee to hip. If you do a very slight rotation of the hips forward, you feel a little tension in your lower back. Okay, we don't want to load up this lower back, so I'm going to have you squeeze those shoulder blades together a little bit. You might want to bend your elbows a little bit. Once you really feel the squeeze here, hold that strong and straighten the arms. Up, up, up. A little bit more, good. So now, not only does he have a little tension in the lower back, it is being balanced with that upper back. The hips and knees are in line. They're working together. They're in coordination. He wouldn't be able to achieve this on both sides, balance between the shoulders, if he didn't have some balance between the hips and knees. Relax that head and neck, Paul. Take a deep breath. One more deep breath. Work those shoulder blades back. The longer you stay there, the more difficult it is to keep those shoulders squeezed back and in alignment with those hips. Believe it or not, having that coordination between the hips and shoulders is going to help keep the coordination between the knees and hips. Good. I'm going to take this block out and have you do it from the floor. The block is a great place to start. You can also do it from the floor as well. If that's the case, you need to bring and position those hips in front of the knees just a little bit. You don't want to be all the way out here like you're almost ready for a knee push-up, but you also don't want to be stacked or even back here. They're getting ready for a yoga pose. You want to be positioned with the hips slightly in front of the knees. Those hips roll forward, shoulder blades squeeze back, and now focus on dropping that head and neck to relax into this good position. Good. You feel that in your entire back. All right, keeping in mind the way Paul looks right now, got that 90 degrees from ankle up to knee to hip. The shoulders are back, you got some good balance. It's gonna take us right to our fourth and final exercise where we put all of these pieces together. We bring some strength and stability into these coordinated positions that we've been working on. I'm gonna have you come on over. We'll have you positioned right here on the wall. Into this nice wall sit. And while Paul's here, throw those arms out. Bring the fists up. If you look at a side angle at where Paul's at here, it's no different than the position he was in on his hands and knees from the floor just a moment ago. Hands come down, shoulders squeeze back a little bit. Paul is replicating that same motion, that same position he was in on the ground, but now he's allowing gravity to work on this system, and he's going to feel a lot more engagement. You're really burning down here.
Getting there.
Starting to get there.
Shaking a little.
You can also see that Paul's knees are lined up right over his ankles and over his feet. His hips are lined up and straight back from those knees. You probably go a little bit lower, Paul. And he is working this strengthening piece, creating stability through the calf, ankle to knee, up through the quads, hamstrings, the thigh, from the knee to hip. And what we're going to work on in the weeks to come is this hip to shoulder. We're not as worried about that as we are with this 90-degree angle. But just bear in mind, there is another 90-degree angle as well. Good, come on up. These 4 exercises are what I call the core 4 because they work on this lower body foundation that supports your center of gravity, your core, up through the abdominals, up through all of your thoracic, your chest, your shoulders. It really starts with that foundational piece, those load-bearing joints below the belt, the ankles, the knees, the hips, and all of the coordinated movement patterns that come from this foundation.